Let's talk about the time an accidental explosion killed three left-wing militants and forced their organization to change strategies. Meet the Weather Underground organization. This was a left-wing paramilitary group that emerged from a split in the Students for a Democratic Society, the main student protest group during the Vietnam War. Its members were mostly white college students who believed that armed struggle was the only way to bring about a communist revolution in the United States. The split that created the Weather Underground occurred in 1969, with those who would go on to form the organization advocating for a guerrilla war against the police and military. They organized themselves into clandestine cells, of which three important ones emerged in San Francisco, the Midwest, and New York City. Each of these cells began carrying out bomb attacks, competing with each other to escalate the violence. The New York cell was made up of Terry Robbins, John Jacobs, Ted Gold, Kathy Boudin, Diana Outen, and Kathy Wilkerson. Their first operations were minor firebombings targeting police stations and the home of a judge presiding over the Panther 21 case. The San Francisco cell had already killed a policeman in February 1970, and Robbins was eager to one-up them. They temporarily moved into a townhouse owned by Wilkerson's father, who would be on vacation for the next 3 weeks. There, they began plotting an attack on Fort Dix, which would be holding a dance for non-commissioned officers. The plan was to bomb the dance, which would kill US military personnel and likely a number of civilians. The issue was, no one in the New York cell knew how to construct bombs. Robbins then took the responsibility of becoming the explosives expert and came up with a rudimentary design. On the morning of the dance on March 6, 1970, Robbins and Diana Outen were making final preparations for the attack in the basement. At some point, they made a mistake that detonated the explosives. The townhouse was ripped apart in the ensuing blasts. Robbins, Outen, and Ted Gold all died in the blast. Kathy Wilkerson and Kathy Boudin survived and fled the scene. John Jacobs was not present at the time of the explosion and went into hiding. The consequences for the Weather Underground would be serious. The deaths of three of their members forced the group into internal reflection. Many of its members left, leaving a core of about 30 or so militants. From that point on, the group eschewed violence against people, instead shifting to symbolic bombings targeting property. They also vowed to train themselves better in bomb making to avoid another accident. The Weather Underground would continue operating until about 1977 and would not be responsible for any additional deaths following the Townhouse Explosion. The group dissolved after its leadership moved in favor of above-ground political work, conceding that their attempt to start an armed uprising had failed. If you found this interesting, follow for more stories of America's underground.